Newmancam, Finding Scholarly Materials with Chris Newman. Newmancam, Part 3B, Other Library Databases.
So in addition to JSTOR, normally when I start this process out, I start with JSTOR. It's just I happen to start with Google Scholar this time. We've got a number of other EBSCO. If you click on all EBSCO bases, has got all sorts of neat stuff in there, including Academic Search Premier and JSTOR, Academic Search Premier and JSTOR. You can also look at scholarly journals, so you click on those. You got the option of saying I only want full text documents and I only want scholarly journals, so you click on those. I'm working in the basic search. I'm presuming it gets more sophisticated elsewhere. And if we enter John Hunt Morgan as our search term again in quotes, because otherwise you'd be getting what? Articles which all have the word John in it, and articles which all have the word Hunt in it, and articles that all have the word Morgan in it, which would mean you get something north of 1,000 citations, I would venture to say. Okay. Little thingies going around here. There we go. And in contrast to the 15 scholarly articles I found in JSTOR, I see one scholarly, well, it's supposed to be scholarly, article about John Hunt Morgan. This is going to be interesting. It's entitled Front Porch, and it's from the journal Southern Cultures. So that's going to be sort of interesting to see what comes up here. Front porch. It's got a picture of a boat in grass here, presumably beached, although these are old boats, I should say. And it's a story. He's musing here, so we say, having read it, gee, this is a total waste of my time. Except we never actually lose things. We just waste time. We just decide this is not useful. In terms of newspaper databases, we've got Historical Chicago Tribune and Historical New York Times. I would recommend that you use both of these with an eye towards casting our net as wide as possible. Both the Historic Chicago Tribune and New York Times go back to before the Civil War, the Trib back to 1849, the Times back to 1851. We found in one of the history sections that you can actually get reports immediately after the battle. So we found reports from the battlefield for Gettysburg, for example, and we found in a later era, slightly, we found reports from Little Bighorn after General Custer discovered that he could not, in fact, defeat the entire Sioux and Cheyenne nation. So we click on, let's go with the New York Times, it's more inclusive. And just to cast our web widely, we'll search all of them. Now, we have not tried this before, but it might be interesting. Oh, here we go. Let's see what we got. General Morgan's home, now a Kentucky shrine. House restored as in war days when Confederate raider rode through it to elude foes. This is from 1930. You've got a variety of options here. You can click on the PDF, which will give you an image of the article itself. And you'll notice the citation at the top of this is much the same as the citation at the top of our original article we started looking at, the historiography article. Well, this might suggest a field trip, because we're talking about it being restored to precisely the way it was when he rode. It's not terribly helpful for our purposes. So we click back. And we look about and we say, most of the other articles are after 1930, nothing contemporary with Morgan. We do have a whole bunch of pages of these, so if you feel like it, you may want to go through all of them. I don't particularly feel like it today. Most of these appear to be references to a biography of Morgan that came out in the 1930s. So you can do that with the New York Times, you can do that with the Chicago Tribune. Okay, so that is more or less an overview